Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Natasha, welcome to my channel, and today's video is part of a greater collaboration with 5 other YouTubers. We are all either in the process of transitioning into cruelty-free or we already are cruelty-free with our makeup collections. This group was created by Jess, aka J Homie here on YouTube. I definitely recommend checking her out. She is one of the coolest people I follow on YouTube. She's just so cool. Her YouTube content is very interesting. Her Instagram is like amazing. And the other people in the group are amazing as well. Some of them are good friends or people that I'm internet friends with, and I think that they also have a lot of really great information to share. So I'll have everybody's channels linked below. I'll have the community playlist below. For 6 months out of the year, we are each going to be doing our own version of one video idea related to cruelty-free content. This month's video idea is tips on how to go cruelty-free or stay cruelty-free if you already are cruelty-free. And I understand I'm going to be saying cruelty-free like 17 billion times in this video. I'll try to say CF whenever I remember to do that to kind of change it up and not make it so repetitive. I apologize in advance, there aren't really a ton of synonyms for cruelty-free that are easier to say, so just keep that in mind. These 5 tips have really helped me go cruelty-free. It's something that has taken me a couple years to fully get into. I still wouldn't say my makeup is 100% cruelty-free. I think I have 1 or 2 stragglers that maybe aren't, but I'm very much in the process. I've shifted a lot of the money I spend over to companies that don't test on animals, and I feel like I have some really interesting tips to share that make this so much easier for me. I'm gonna hop into it. The first tip I want to share is to be realistic about what cruelty-free means and what it means to you. I think there is so much that goes into creating a beauty product, so much about the process that we as consumers don't really know about. And even if something says cruelty-free on the bottle or on the product, that doesn't necessarily mean that absolutely no one was harmed or inconvenienced in any way in order to make that product exist. Like I said, basically with anything you buy nowadays, there is bound to be maybe some degree of cruelty within the making of that product, whether it be the labor that's used, the ingredients and their sources, when and where stuff is being imported, how things are being extracted from the earth. Just really any step of the process. It's very complicated, and I think if we were trying to do research on every single part of that, on everything we buy, I think it would be extremely crippling and very difficult to like have a functioning life. As much as I want to consider myself a mindful consumerist, I feel like it's such a complicated process. It would be impossible for me to get all the information that I would want, and it's just something that is very over my head in a lot of ways, and me going cruelty-free is just like a tiny step I can take to kind of feel better about where I'm putting my money. Raw Paint does a fantastic video about this. She talks about the truth of what cruelty-free is. She has a very unbiased opinion, and she brings up a lot of really interesting topics such as privilege and how it plays into whether or not someone can even go cruelty-free. And I just really appreciate her take on things. It was very realistic. I will have her video and her channel linked in the description box too. I think it's absolutely worth a watch. She has so many interesting things to say about the beauty industry, and I really feel like my knowledge about the beauty industry is like greatly augmented because of the content that she puts out. So definitely gonna put her in the description box. I think you should watch her. Being very realistic about what cruelty-free means and what it doesn't mean is very helpful in making your purchasing decisions in the future, and I think it just adds some depth and perspective to the concept of going cruelty-free. So definitely recommend checking out her channel and just doing some research on your own. That's pretty much tip number 1. The second tip is not as deep. It's really just kind of your first step into going CF, and that is to try to just start with creating one full face of cruelty-free makeup. So just try to find one concealer, one foundation, one blush. Maybe you already have it in your collection. Maybe you need to go out and find one and replace, use up the one you have and then replace it with something cruelty-free. Just giving yourself the time to steadily just try to find one product from each category that is cruelty-free and going from there. For me, I had a lot of concealers that weren't cruelty-free. I had a lot of Maybelline, a lot of NARS, and that was one of the hardest things for me. That and lip balms, those two were really difficult for me to find at first. So as I was using up concealers and lip balms, I would do research and try to find either a similar product from a CF brand or just try to find a new formula that I would like just as much and kind of just slowly replace it. I didn't turn into a marathon. I didn't just get rid of all my non-CF makeup. I slowly worked stuff out and brought cruelty-free stuff in, and soon the percentage of stuff that was CF started going up, but I didn't feel like I was like clamoring and just using anything that I could that was cruelty-free. I was still really liking the products that I was bringing in. So doing a little bit of research on that, just having one full face of cruelty-free makeup makes the process a lot more approachable, a lot easier to handle, and it doesn't seem like such a mountain to climb. Of course, if you have a small bag of makeup, you maybe only have 1 or 2 products, maybe you don't even use a lot of products on your face at once, maybe you're like a 5 or 6 product type of person, or if you're someone like me who, if you're going full glam, if you're doing a full face of makeup, you're using way more than 6 products. Depending on your makeup style and how much you already own, this step could either be really difficult or really hard, but I think just starting with one face, one full face, is the easiest way to go. The third tip is to try to find a community that will help hold you accountable. At the beginning of 2017, I kind of made the internal decision to try and support more cruelty-free brands when I could. And I was in the process of considering starting a channel. I wasn't 100% sure yet. I was still kind of doing research and contemplating, brainstorming video ideas and stuff, and figuring out the logistics of what would go into creating a channel. And when I decided to be a cruelty-free channel, that opened me up to a lot of other channels, a lot of subscribers who are cruelty-free as well, and just having that sense of community and people who could help me along the process and kind of be there with me really made it so much easier. And another thing is people who comment on my videos also help keep me accountable. Everyone's very polite and very mature. Like, my comments section is amazing. People are so kind. For example, I think in the middle of last year I purchased something from Lipstick Queen, and some people in the comments kind of gave me a little gentle nudge like, hey, I'm not sure if you know this, but I don't think that's a cruelty-free brand. And when I went back and researched it more, it didn't seem like they were, and I wouldn't have known that if people weren't kind of kindly giving me a little heads up like, hey, you made a mistake. It's very easy to make mistakes. It's very, like, for some reason there are some brands in my head where I just assume they're cruelty-free, and then when I go back and do the research, it doesn't seem like they are. And just having people in a community like that really helps me kind of keep up to date on what is and isn't cruelty-free, what's happening in the news. If I wasn't following stuff like that on YouTube, if I didn't have that kind of community, I would have never known that CoverGirl recently went cruelty-free, which is a really big deal and very exciting. I'm not saying you have to start a channel if you're trying to go CF. There are so many different forums. There's chats online, there's forums, there's Reddit groups, there's Instagram pages. You know, maybe if you want to start something like that, you can start your own Instagram page. Finding a community, finding your people within this realm is incredibly helpful. The fourth one is a little bit harder to explain, and that is to kind of get in the habit of creating a mental filter. So I follow YouTubers and Instagram pages and Facebook groups. I follow a lot of non-cruelty-free YouTube channels and Instagram pages. I want to have a good idea of what's happening in the beauty industry in general, and that means both within the cruelty-free and non-CF realms. And just knowing what brands are coming out with what trends are coming out, what kind of product types are being created. It just seems like there's so much happening in the industry, and I really do enjoy researching that and keeping up to date with what's going on. And I think just as a beauty enthusiast, I think that's what's best for me. It is a little bit difficult sometimes when like Beauty News or Trend Mood or Temptalia will come out and show product swatches of this new something that came out from a brand, and it'll be gorgeous, and I'll be like, oh, I want to get my hands on that. That looks gorgeous. And then I'll realize it's from a non-cruelty-free brand. Sometimes that happens. It's disappointing. It's not the end of the world, but it is something that is easier to kind of fight and not give into the longer you do it. I think it's really difficult at first, especially if you're in that mindset of trying new things and getting excited about bringing stuff in. Sometimes just telling yourself no is not the easiest thing to do. I get that. But over time, I've gotten a really great sense of what is cruelty-free and what isn't, and as stuff comes through on my Instagram feed, in the Facebook groups, in YouTube videos, I kind of create that mental filter of like, oh, I can still appreciate that and gain knowledge from like what this color scheme is doing, this new formula, what they're doing with the marketing. I can still appreciate that for what it is without feeling like I need to go out and buy it. Like, I can create that mental filter, still get excited about stuff that's coming out without physically owning that product or supporting that brand. So creating that mental filter, it's kind of like a muscle that you have to work, and it gets so much easier with time, of course. I think that's so important, and I think that's really helped me kind of still keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the beauty industry without feeling like I need to own everything. And the very last one is the most fun, and that is to find cruelty-free brands to get excited about. There are so many smaller indie brands, you know, brands from different parts of the world that are cruelty-free that I would much rather put my money towards and support. And a lot of them are coming out with really interesting products, and following cruelty-free YouTubers and cruelty-free Instagram pages and stuff is really helpful in learning about it. Everyone has probably already mentioned it in their videos already, but Logical Harmony is, in my opinion, one of the best resources if you are going cruelty-free. She has a website with a cruelty-free list. It's easily searchable. You can find any cruelty-free brand out there, and she is constantly updating it every week. Her and her team put so much time and effort and research into creating these lists, and it's a fantastic resource that really does the work for me in like, it takes like 99% of the work out of going cruelty-free. It's just a very useful tool, and I think finding indie brands or cruelty-free brands that are coming out with exciting products or interesting color stories or interesting colors in general, it kind of brings the fun back into makeup and beauty. Kind of disciplining yourself and telling yourself what you can and can't buy, it kind of takes the fun out of being a beauty enthusiast. And so whenever you do find brands that are exciting to support, it kind of brings the fun back into it and kind of makes me remember why I got into makeup in the first place. In my opinion, that tip is the easiest to implement and also the most fun to do. Alright, so those are my 5 tips. I hope you took away something from this video that was helpful. Of course, please go check out all the other videos like this. Next month we will all be doing our own version of a different video idea, and we will be doing that for the next 6 months. I think all of these videos together in this playlist will be a fantastic cruelty-free guide here on YouTube, and it's something you can easily keep in your arsenal for when you are trying to go cruelty-free, or if you're just trying to stay cruelty-free. Thanks again to Jess for creating this idea and for inviting me to be a part of it. It's very exciting to be a part of this group. I hope you enjoyed these tips, but in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!